committees. Thank you. As a Hudson River Valley Greenway Communities Council board member, I have recently had the honor and opportunity to serve on a subcommittee of the Greenway Communities Council, where I learned a great deal about the work that Project Director Dan Jeanson and Regional Planner Cody Arana will be presenting today. And I hope that you will find these excellent funding opportunities, not just for the county, but also for the local governments within your counties. And I would like to add that these funding opportunities through the Greenway have very low administrative burden, which is always a big plus. And then following the Greenway, you will hear from New Jersey Institute of Technology Environmental Services Director, Kaylin Bruno, who will be expanding on past brownfields funding presentations to the board. Kaylin will inform us of the technical assistance NGIT can provide to the region's local government. And then separate, just as a little aside, NGIT will be working with HVRC on our landfill mitigation project. Following each presentation, we'll have 5 minutes of Q&A, and then you are welcome to put your questions in the chat or just ask them directly during the Q&A. The decks will be made available to everybody. So Dan and Cody, I am now going to move on to your presentation and advance the slides.
Thank you, Carla. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. And thank you, Carla and the Hudson Valley Regional Council again for inviting us here today. My name is Cody Arana, as Carla mentioned, the regional planner with the Hudson River Valley Greenway, and I am joined by my colleague, Dan Jeanson, project director. We're here to talk about how the Greenway supports communities across the Hudson Valley, and especially how your municipality can take advantage of the Community and Compact Planning Program and our other opportunities. By the end of this presentation, I want you to not just see the opportunities, but the real value of joining the Compact program. And if you don't, please reach out to us personally so we can extend the conversation with you. And next slide, please. And I'm going to pass the baton over to Dan.
Thanks, Cody. In 1991, the state legislature created the Hudson River Valley Greenway Act. At the time, the region faced increasing development pressures, concerns over sprawl, and the need to protect the Hudson River Valley's natural and cultural assets. With New York being a home rule state, the legislature did not want a heavy-handed regulatory approach. Instead, they created a framework that is completely voluntary. Communities opt in if they choose, and when they do, they gain resources, support, and funding. 2 organizations were created by the Act: the Greenway Communities Council, a state agency that manages planning and funding, and the Greenway Conservancy, a public benefit corporation which focuses on trail development, heritage, and public participation. Together, these 2 arms allow us to help communities plan smarter and connect better. We also manage the Maurice D. Hinchey Hudson River Valley National Heritage Area, which is federally designated region by Congress in 1996. That's tasked with collaborating with residents, government agencies, nonprofit groups, and private partners to interpret, preserve, and celebrate the nationally significant cultural and natural resources of the Hudson River Valley. Next slide, please. At the heart of the Act are the 5 Greenway criteria. These are natural and cultural resource protection, regional planning, economic development, public access, and heritage and environmental education. These criteria are flexible. They aren't prescriptive. If your town is working on a waterfront revitalization, it fits. If your village is updating zoning to protect open space, it fits. If your county wants to expand heritage tourism or build a trail system, it fits. The point is, no matter what your local priorities are, they align with the Greenway framework. Next slide, please. The Greenway geographic scope stretches from Saratoga County in the north down to New York City. That means that every county in the regional council's jurisdiction falls within ours, except for Sullivan. We're sorry, guys. This includes Rockland, Westchester, Putnam, Orange, Dutchess, and Ulster. It's part of the Greenway. And the more municipalities in your county that participate, the stronger your county's voice and access to resources become. Next slide, please. So how does it all work? First level, to become a Greenway community, municipalities pass a resolution simply committing to the Greenway criteria, and that's approved by our board. For a compact, that starts out at a county level. A Greenway compact is developed by the county. This compact is essentially a shared document that lays out broad guidelines for sustainable development, resource protection, and regional priorities. Then at the municipal level, communities can choose to adopt the county's compact plan into their local laws. When they do, they become a Greenway compact community, and that opens the door to higher levels of funding, stronger partnerships, and even protections under state law. Next slide, please. So let's talk about the funding. The Greenway Council provides up to $20,000 for Greenway communities, up to $50,000 for compact communities, and for counties, up to $100,000 to create a compact and $75,000 to update one. The Greenway Conservancy supports trails with up to $250,000 for construction, $100,000 for rehabilitation, $75,000 for planning, and $25,000 for interpretation and education. These grants are intentionally flexible, There's no minimum grant amount. Communities have used them to fund open space plans, historic resource surveys, zoning code updates, and trail improvements. Think of them as seed money. They often help municipalities leverage larger state or federal funding. For example, a small Greenway planning grant might help complete a comprehensive plan update, which then positions the community to apply for a much larger Department of State or DEC grant. Next slide, please, and I'm going to let Cody finish it up.
Thanks, Dan. So I'm going to talk about what sets the community and compact program apart from other state programs that are similar. So primarily it's voluntary and non-regulatory. The state doesn't come in and tell you what to do. We make sure that home rule is preserved. The application process is very simple, much less burdensome than many other state programs, like ones that use the CFA, meaning it provides value for your administration time. The focus is strategic and highly prioritized on trails, heritage, public access, and sustainable development. Also, we are a state-sponsored program that doesn't cover the whole state. So we are a regional program, and so it's a state funding stream that is less competitive and designed just for Hudson Valley communities. Lastly, we're small enough to be flexible. Our programs can fund a comprehensive plan, an economic development corridor study, a natural resource inventory, or even a housing study. And that flexibility makes us a great partner for projects that don't always fit into larger, more rigid state funding streams. Next slide, please. Now here's where the real value lies, the difference between being a Greenway community and being a Greenway compact community. So compact communities get higher grant awards. As Dan mentioned before, a Greenway community can apply for $20,000, a compact community can apply for $50,000. As a compact community, you have the ability to stack grants, meaning you qualify for $20,000 in the communities program and separately $50,000 in the compact program. So you can have an open grant for a comprehensive plan and have a dire need last minute to study your city's reservoir capacity, and the Greenway will consider that funding request. Also, bonus points on other state grants. And if you've ever applied for funding, you know how much a few extra points can mean. Better cooperation with state agencies, because our board represents so many state agencies who are specifically there to support you. Our legislation also explicitly states every state agency and public corporation shall, to the fullest extent practical, offer full cooperation and assistance to the council and the appropriate community. The compact plan also acts as a resource that can be referred to in seeker reviews and serve as a guide for CACs or planning boards. And most importantly, the compact indemnity clause. If you are implementing initiatives that support your commitment to the Greenway's criteria and the compact program, and you're challenged in court, the Attorney General's Office in New York State has the discretion to defend you, or once the proceeding is over, and only if the municipality won, the state will reimburse your legal fees. which means take every single chance to align and document your goals with the compact to essentially act as an insurance policy in case you were ever sued. That's something that's really unique. No other voluntary planning program in the state offers that level of protection to Hudson Valley communities. It shows the legislature's commitment to backing up communities that commit to good planning. Just imagine your community facing a legal challenge and how valuable it would be to have the AG's office represent you at no cost, or being reimbursed for costly legal proceedings. That gives a community peace of mind when putting their goals into action, gives them some flexibility. Next slide, please. So there's so many fantastic communities in the Hudson Valley, and it was hard to choose a community that's implementing the Greenway's goals. But I chose one, and I'd like to highlight the village of Irvington in Westchester County, a compact community since 2006 that has used community and compact funding consistently in a strategic way. In 2014, Irvington applied to the Community Planning Grant Program for the Tiffany Trail Tourism Program, which showcased the village's remarkable Tiffany glass heritage, turning history into a tourism draw. We want you to leverage your assets and turn them into engines of economic development. It's what we encourage. And then in 2016, before they closed out their other grant through the Communities Program, they applied for funding through the Greenway Compact Program to support access enhancements and public connections to the Hudson River. They took advantage of being a compact by stacking their funds to make the community more livable, and this project directly supports the Greenway's goals of public access. Then in 2024, this was a great example. They were awarded a compact grant in collaboration with 6 other villages to study the feasibility of a food scrap collections program. They received a competitive advantage for collaborating with a multitude of partners, which helped drive the Greenway's mission of regional planning. I hope those examples give you some insight on how to leverage your community to take advantage of the Greenway's opportunities. Next slide, please. And just to wrap up, the Greenway was designed to help communities like yours. Our Community and Compact program provide flexible funding, technical assistance, and legal protections without taking away local control. If you're already a Greenway community, I encourage you to consider taking the next step and becoming a compact community. The benefits are real, more funding, a stronger position with state agencies, and the peace of mind that comes with indemnification. We're here to support you every step of the way. And thank you. Dan and I are happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you so much, Dan and Cody. I was muted. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize Andy Kitzman, who's the executive director of the Greenway. He joined us today for this presentation, and we appreciate his presence. So let's see, shall I open it up to any questions? Does anyone have any questions related to the, let's see, I'm going to move over to this slide related to the indemnity clause that was mentioned, or maybe the reporting or the stacking opportunities that that Cody presented here, for example, with the village of Irvington. Any questions? And please just unmute yourself and feel free to speak, because again, I can't exactly see everybody.
I have a question.
Thank you, Julie.
I just wanted clarification. In order to become a Greenway compact community, did you say that the county that you're located in has to become a compact county first?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. So for
Ulster County is currently not a compact county.
Maybe Cody is the or Dan, maybe you could briefly describe the complexity or lack thereof of becoming a compact county.
Dan, you want to take that?
Sure. I mean, I don't see it as too complex, but it's always there's always some complexity. So the county develops the plan. It's a guiding document that, like I said, tells the communities what the county envisions on a regional level for development in the county, and then the municipalities then would adopt that into their local law. I don't know if Cody wants to add anything to that.
No, I mean, it's really that simple. I mean, it's kind of the same idea of the comprehensive plan, except it's just more focused on the Greenway's five criteria, like we mentioned before: natural and cultural resources, economic development, public access, and those things. And it just kind of opens up the door for communities to adopt that compact plan into their local law. And then with that adoption of the of the plan into local law, then they then have the powers of indemnification and the powers that come with being a compact community.
Thank you. I hope that is helpful to those few that are not part of a compact community yet. And just as a reminder, like one of the benefits that Dan and Cody mentioned was an additional funding, higher funding amount for those communities. Let's see, any other questions before we move on to Kaylin's presentation? Okay. Kaylin, let's see. Hello, I am going to pull up your presentation now, and here we go. Thank you so much for joining us, Kaylin, and for giving me the opportunity to advance your slides.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, the HVRC staff and all of you on the board for having me today. I know you have a busy meeting, but I always love an opportunity to talk about brownfields. You can go to the next slide. I am the Director of Environmental Services at NJIT Technical Assistance to Brownfield Communities Program, or just TAB for short. If you're not familiar with our program, we provide free technical assistance to communities, local governments, nonprofits, and EPA Region 2, which is where New York is. We've been doing this since 2008, and we, through a grant through the EPA, and even though our grant is through the EPA, we don't just help EPA grant recipients, we help communities all over New York, maybe with their brownfield cleanup program applications, or their brownfield opportunity area applications, or just, brownfield questions in general. We're independent, so we're able to provide assistance that way. You could go ahead, next slide, please. So again, I'm really excited to have this opportunity to talk to you all today about brownfields. I think it's something you all should really consider when you're looking at your comprehensive economic development plan. I really encourage you to think of these sites, these brownfields, in any redevelopment opportunities that come up, and any of your community's goals for economic development or resiliency. And brownfields get a bad rap, but they do have advantages. They often have locational advantages. Sometimes they're located downtown, along waterways, along rail lines. Sometimes they could be really architecturally cool or historically important to the community. And some of them also have existing infrastructure. So those sewer lines, water lines, that would be really expensive to connect a greenfield development. The brownfields already come equipped with those. Next slide. And, not knowing how familiar everyone here is with brownfields and the definitions, I have two definitions up here. The first one is the EPA's. It's real property, the expansion, redevelopment, or reuse of which may be complicated by the presence or potential presence of a hazardous substance, pollutant, or contaminant. I'll show you some examples of how this really comes into play, but there is some nuance in this definition that really isn't present in New York's definition of brownfields, which is any real property where a contaminant is present at levels exceeding the soil cleanup objectives or other health-based environmental standards. The difference in the definition, the New York's definition is used to enter sites into their brownfield cleanup program, which is a tax incentive program for remediating sites. So if a site isn't contaminated, you can't really clean it up and therefore get tax credits for it. Whereas the spirit of the EPA definition is a little different. It's recognizing that, sometimes based on a site's history, we might not know if it's contaminated or not, but it's still causing an issue for the surrounding community. Next slide. So here's some examples. I think, when you hear that definition, you might be picturing an urban community or something like a big factory, but there are some smaller sites that are less obvious that people might not consider. So here I have the Palace Theater in Port Jervis. This is something I might suspect there could be a potential for asbestos or lead-based paint just based on how old the building is. That would be considered a brownfield. So there might be a little more intuitive. Here's an example, the former auto parts and auto repair garage in Liberty, New York. That's vacant. That would be a brownfield. And here's an example I really like. The closed Grossinger's Resort in Liberty, New York. That to me is another one. It's like not very intuitive that would be a brownfield. And I like how this is really pictured in this photo. You can imagine these like colorful chairs back in the day were probably around a pool, but behind it is this machinery, probably, a sophisticated boiler system or something for this massive operation. I think they also did like dry cleaning on site. So that site is pretty contaminated, and that is currently in New York's brownfield cleanup program. So those are just some examples. Next slide. One of the most common questions that we get is, okay, so where's the list of brownfields in my community? Or where's the map? Where can I find these like pre-registered brownfields? And the answer is that doesn't exist. That's the sort of thing that really needs to happen on the local level. So the DEC, they do have a map. This is a screenshot here of showing sites that are in their regulatory program. So that's going to be those sites that are in the BCP or Brownfield Cleanup Program, the state Superfund sites, or maybe ones that are in the Environmental Response Program when that is funded. But this isn't going to include some of those other sites that haven't been entered into the program yet. So that's why it's important on a local level to do that inventory and know where those sites are. Next slide, please. A good tool for New York in order to do that activity of finding the brownfields, making a map, putting them, on a spreadsheet and tracking those opportunities is through the Brownfield Opportunity Area Program. This is through the Department of State. There's only one, as far as I'm aware of, in HVRC region that is in Kingston. However, I think an opportunity that this audience should be aware of is it's pretty new through the Department of State. It's a grant to put together a county-wide inventory. So if you're curious about the brownfields opportunities in your area, that's definitely a great place to start. Yes, next slide, please. And another resource for addressing brownfields are the EPA brownfields grants. The sites that have been addressed using this program are shown on this map as the little orange crosses here. And I just pulled a small report from the past few years. In this region, there's been almost $8 million investment through the past couple of years through this program. Next slide, please. So an example, something I was really excited to read about in Poughkeepsie is this Northside Hub. They're calling this a model on how to engage adaptive reuse. This is going to house office space for the nonprofit Scenic Hudson, as well as the land trust. And they're using this model I've seen in other communities throughout the country. Actually, I just visited one such project in Chicago. They're also opening out to the community to have gathering space, co-working space. So the community has a place to do educational forums and workshops and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. This is also close to the river walkway and trails. It's a green building, so they have solar panels. They have a really state-of-the-art air vent system, and they're doing, you know, all the cool things with native plants and stuff like that. So this is a $43 million project. I don't have an exact figure on how much they spent to remediate the site, but they did enter the brownfield cleanup program to recoup some of those costs, along with the historic tax credits. I did see a figure that total was 13 million for this project. Through New York's brownfield cleanup program, you can claim tax credits both on the amount you spent cleaning up the site, and improvements to the site. So for a huge project like this, it's definitely worth looking into. And they were also able to stack funds through Empire State Development and NYSERDA. Next slide. Like I said, I was very excited to read about that this project, but not, and based on what I saw about the timeline of how they were able to remediate, I was kind of hesitant to present this as an example because this was really fast. So they started the investigation phase in 2020, and they were able to investigate and remediate the site and put together the final engineering report in just 4 years. So they closed out the site in 2024. There is some remaining contamination that they're going to have to monitor. That's very common. They have a site management plan. So it's not like totally cleaned up. But this timeline, moving through the process in 4 years, I do just want to manage your expectation. Like, I was pretty shocked to see that. But I guess it is possible, you know? So yeah, before they renovated it, it was used for about 100 years as the standard gauge factory. It had been sitting vacant for about 20 years. And yeah, next slide. Just one more example of something. This is kind of like a smaller project, but still shows the potential here. There was a former statewide oil property that's in Port Jervis. It was right next to a school. So they were able to take funding through the DEC and the EPA to clean up the site and be able to have some extra room to expand the school for their renovation and to expand their parking area. Next slide is those kind of dots I showed you on the DEC map showing all the sites in the region that are in the BCP or ERP or the state Superfund site, and I just, you know, all those acronyms really make me laugh. But a lot of those actually are landfills, dumping sites, which are considered brownfields. So this is how we got connected together, HVRC and NJIT, on the biofilter project. So we're gonna help assist with some community education, getting the word out there about the project and the technique. And so hopefully other communities can use Hudson Valley as an example to address their landfills. Next slide, please. We're coming to the end here. I know I'm probably speaking pretty fast, but I would be remiss to not talk about the upcoming EPA grant cycle, because any day now we're expecting that they're going to release the guidelines. What's interesting about this, and really important to point out, is that they are, for this grant, they are honoring the funding that was committed through the bipartisan infrastructure law. So on this chart, you could see like the regular appropriated funds is about $60 million, but there's many more millions in this program now because of the bipartisan infrastructure law, but it's only available for this one last year, this upcoming cycle. So if you're considering it, I think, this is a good time to apply, even though this is a pretty huge administrative lift to apply for one of these grants. But, there you go. And you can go to the next slide. Yeah, this is just, an overview of the process that we at NJIT can help you understand where you are in this process if you have brownfields in your community. And if you're looking to engage the community, build partnerships, looking for funding sources, and being flexible about your site reuse vision, you're going to be in a good position to address your community brownfields. So you could go to the next slide. This is just a little bit about our program and how you can contact us. There are some other slides in the deck, which is really just information about our program. That's just like reference material for your board here. We don't necessarily have to go through that. So ready to hear if anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Kaylin. I really appreciate your presenting that. I'm just going to quickly scroll through what folks are going to be receiving when they receive this deck. And now let's see, turn to some questions. Let's see, I'm not sure if any of the chat, I'm a little afraid to open the chat because I have no idea where it's going to open up. So if anybody has any questions that if they could unmute themselves. I know I have one, but I will wait for others. Okay, so my question is related to the revolving loan fund. Can you explain a little bit the fund and how Sullivan County established and is using that fund?
I don't know the particular ins and outs of their fund exactly, but a revolving loan fund is a grant that you can get through the EPA to capitalize a loan, primarily a loan fund. There is some grants, sub-grants that you're allowed to give out through that program. What's cool is that it gives whoever the recipient is a lot of flexibility in what the loan repayment terms are and stuff like that, but it's really earmarked for cleanup, site remediation, site cleanup, and costs associated with that. They are able to loan to private developers through that program, which makes it pretty attractive. And yeah, and once they repay it, then you can put it back into the program and keep cleaning up sites.
Do you anticipate, is that part of the MAC grant offerings that are going to be available in 2026?
Not this year. They offer
Okay.
it every other year. So yeah.
Okay. So it remains to be seen whether that opportunity will continue.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions for Kaylin? All righty. So thank you so much, Kaylin. Thank you, Dan and Cody, for your presentations. I know I certainly learned some new things, so I hope that folks on this call did as well. So now I'm going to flip back to the agenda, and next up is our chairwoman, Bridget Gibbons.
Thank you so much, Carla. That was a great, those presentations were very helpful. Before I get started, I'd like to recognize the departure of former City of Yonkers Commissioner of Planning and Development, Carolina Fonseca, and thank her for her service, and welcome to the board our new commissioner, Charlene Indelicato, who is participating in today's meeting. Thank you for your willingness to serve on the board. Carla and I have enjoyed this week starting off our one-on-one visits with board members around the region. to share the accomplishments of HVRC's work and all of their technical assistance and other interesting information. And we look forward to meeting, I think, with the rest of the board members next week and perhaps 1 week after that. Carla will soon provide an update on the many important projects and initiatives she and the staff have been advancing, from improvements in financial and administrative operations to progress on our administrative and operating policies and procedures. I'm grateful to Carla and her team for their hard work and dedication in moving the organization forward. She'll also share the successful completion of the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, the CEDS. I want to again thank the CEDS committee, our board members and staff for their diligence in bringing this effort to fruition. It is a very important milestone for the region. So thank you all for your commitment to the organization. Now I'm going to turn it over to Mike Polsak, our treasurer, for his report.
Thank you so much, Bridget. Before I provide the actual report, I just want to say that it has been an absolute pleasure working with Robin, the new financial director for the organization. It's really been a welcoming member to the team, especially from my perspective as being board treasurer. So Robin, thank you for all the work you've done to help out the organization and create these neat and tidy reports that I can give. So Carla's going to go into a little bit more detail in her report regarding where we are with certain some of the grants. However, just as an overview, all of our accounts have been reconciled, and these numbers are as of August 31st, 2025. And Robin can confirm for me, I believe the 2024 audit work was done yesterday. Is that correct? Okay, great. And we'll expect that the audit in time for our November board meeting, if I recall correctly. Yep. Okay, great. Our statement of net position, we have cash on hand, again, as of August 31st, $197,928. We're currently burning about a little over $67,000 a month, which gives us about 3 months of cash in our bank accounts. As far as our statement of activities, our total revenue as of August 31st is $517,492. You'll see in the report there's a breakdown between county contributions, which I believe we still have some outstanding, as well as the split between our federal and state grants. Our expenses year to date, $501,000. And you'll see again just a small breakdown of our cost of goods, personnel obviously being the largest piece of the organization's cost, as well as just some general operating expenditures. Our change in net position year to date is a deficit or decrease of $44,609. So again, a very just high level overview. Just noting again that our audit from last year will be available by our next board meeting. And again, Carla will go into a little bit more detail on some of the specifics on the grants that are currently outstanding and where we are financially. Are there any questions? Julie.
Is 2.92 months of cash considered good?
It's been what we've had consistently. We've been anywhere, if I recall, between about 3 or 4 months. I think we may have even been up as high as 5 months. But the thing is, it's tough because, and I know I talked to Carla and Robin about this in the past, with these grants. There's so many moving pieces that and I have trouble with it putting it all together. What's coming in? When do we expect reimbursements? What's the time frame? Robin and Carla have that better under their hat than I do. But it's my understanding from being involved over the past couple of years in this capacity and meetings with them that we are in a good position, and 3 months should be fine. Okay. See no other questions. Again, thank you all. Thank you, Robin. And back to you, Carla.
Thank you so much. So now we are moving on to my report, and I'm going to hope that this opens up in the correct screen. Perfect. All right. So let's see, just sorry, if you could just give me one more second. Okay. So again, I am very thankful to the board of directors and especially the officers for all the good work that we are able to do on behalf of the counties and the county's local governments. It is always a pleasure to work with all of you and to advance your goals. In terms of staffing, so we have, since we last spoke, we have officially hired on 3 new staff. They're going to be waiving when I mention their names. First is the Financial Administrative Director, Robin Satin, which who Mike mentioned. He is a former finance manager at Habitat for Humanity of Greater Newburgh, amongst other excellent positions that brought him to us. Followed by Resilience and Adaptation Coordinator, Sophia Di Tommaso. So she's a recent Master's of Environmental graduate from the Yale School of Environment and former Climate Solutions Fellow at Emerson University, Office of Sustainability Initiatives. She's going to be working with Climate Action Planning Manager Mary Lambert on the Climate Smart Communities coordinator funding. And last, we have environmental scientist, Dr. Sarish Asgar. She holds a PhD in environmental science from the University of Idaho, where her USDA-funded research focused on greenhouse gas mitigations via process optimization, nutrient recycling, and sustainable product development. I'm sure if you ever have any interest in hearing more about what all of that means, please feel free to reach out to her. She's also going to be working with Mary, who also manages the Mid-Hudson Landfill Mitigation Project. In terms of new hiring, the position posting for the Clean Energy Communities Coordinator has closed, and we received 45 qualified responsive applications. We are really thankful to have such a robust pool of applicants from which to choose. So we expect that by the end of November, we will have our full complement. And then we are also in the middle of hiring some resilience and adaptation interns to support the work that Sophie and Mary will be doing, and that closes tomorrow. Oops. Okay, so this next piece where I'm going to provide a little bit more detail on some of what, actually the next page, some of what Mr. Polasek shared. I'm beginning with the financial and administrative updates. As Michael shared, I am so incredibly pleased that HVRC is making great strides in financial and administrative matters since hiring Robin. Robin has streamlined many processes and made many really great improvements. So this is just some of what Robin and I have been working on, and Robin is, I believe, taking the lead on all of these. Yes, for now. So in strengthening and streamlining our financial controls, we have brought in payroll and bank reconciliations given Robin's experience, and will be saving money on the payments to our former organization that was doing this work, RBT, and we're very thankful for their participation, for their support for us. In September, just yesterday, we completed the field work. Robin completed the field work with Nugent and Hausler. We expect to present a draft audit report for review to the board officers in October for November presentation to the board. In terms of our policies, the personnel policies, Robin has gone through with a fine-tooth comb to get them all tidied up, and in coordination with the second half of the policies, that will be fully done in September with a final review, so that in October it can be reviewed and presented to the officers, and in that will also be a review from legal counsel. We had we were able to engage a really good experienced firm for this work. And the goal is to present that at the November board meeting for adoption. The cycle is also similar for the accounting and financial procedures manual finalization in October with HVRC review and presentation to the officers, and then for November board adoption. The bylaws update, while we are still awaiting information, additional information and guidance from New York State Department of State, we are able today to adopt a resolution that should make it smooth the way for being recognized by the Department of State so that staff can be added to the retirement system, be a formal part of the New York State retirement system. And then in December, Robin will be finalizing the research on the block. And then in January of next year, we anticipate presenting the research to the officers to determine any future action. In terms of grants, really great news. We just received notice today that we received the funding for the EDA Partnership Planning Assistance Program. And so very soon, in fact, probably tomorrow, I will be starting to finalize the contracting process on that, which is actually pretty simple. We were awarded and are currently under contract for the Northern Border Regional Commission funding that supports Sullivan County, and we're awarded an extension and additional funds of a Department of State grant opportunity that also supports Sullivan County. The Department of State funds are basically kind of as a pass-through from the Northern Border Regional Commission. And those are excellent opportunities for Sullivan County, given that their economy is quite different from the majority of the region. In terms of contracting, Westchester CAPI 2.0 is which was received by Westchester County from the DEC Climate Smart Communities Grant Program that is underway, and year 3 on 604B is in progress. The CAPI Adapt 2.0, we're in the exploration phase in as far as that funding is concerned, and it would include cohort members that are involved in Westchester CAPI 2.0 and potentially an expansion to the region. So we'll be, that's part of the exploration and negotiation process. And then in terms of reimbursements, this, as Michael mentioned, there was a 44,000 negative in the current financial report, and that is always attributed to the reimbursement cycle. Thanks to Robin's diligence and patience, we were able to submit and respond to all of the questions from the 604B program regarding our year 1 submission. So I am thinking that is put to bed, and so now we are waiting for the funding. Year 2, we have targeted October to complete the reimbursement request on year 2. And then actually year 3, we somehow got lost under, oh no, I put year 3, 604B, the contracting has been uploaded to the SFS system, is incorporated. Thank you to Robin for learning that system and just playing around with it a lot until we got that right. So we're waiting for that to be finalized. In terms of programmatic updates, so we have a lot of really great work happening. Since we have presentations during this September meeting, this is a very protracted presentation on the work of the organization, but I hope that you all have seen the save the date for November 6th, where that's the date when we're going to have the annual conference and awards celebration. We're in the middle of planning and putting together all of the speakers. And in fact, I think maybe there are a couple of people here who are going to be part of our speaker lineup, and it's going to be held in Kaplan Hall at SUNY Orange, and forever grateful to the Orange County Department of Planning for facilitating such a beautiful space for the presentation. We hope that you will be able to join us. Then, as far as the EDA project planning assistance, the next slide will talk about the SEDS to give you a little bit more background on what was updated since we last presented on the SEDS to the board. So today the goal is SEDS adoption, and then ongoing, we're going to continue our project and grant assistance and dissemination of the Economic Development Digest. In terms of the DEC 604B water quality program, Lauren is really excited to internally to reveal the Orangetown DWSP2 plan, which goes through a series of edits before final submission to the DEC. So that will be really wonderful to get that all buttoned up. In December is the estimated timeframe for releasing the MS4 toolkit, and she's been working with CCE Rockland on that. And then ongoing is her water quality technical assistance. So if you have local governments that need water quality technical assistance, Lauren is your person. In terms of the EPA wastewater program, Ryan will be launching the wastewater hub in September at the conference. So you'll have a sense of how this hub can be a one-stop shop for the local governments to support them with their wastewater funding application needs. And then ongoing, Ryan has been helping quite a number of communities with wastewater inquiries, and they really do vary quite a bit. Okay, NYSERDA CEC program, the team, Liz and Eleanor, they provide grant and project management support to those communities that have received awards. But the most exciting part is that a updated PON with new actions will be released with new awards amounts available to the region. We don't quite know exactly what that's going to look like, but we will be sure to inform you the moment it is released, because the one thing we can probably be sure of is that it's going to be first come, first serve as always. In terms of the CSC coordinator program, as part of the annual celebration preceding it, there's going to be a regional climate action planning workshop that is going to be led by Mary's climate resilience team. That's going to be in September, and then upcoming, Sophie will be working with Putnam County to develop their climate vulnerability assessment and adaptation plan. So that is funded through this program, and we are funded to complete a second plan within the 3-year period. We look forward to working with the second county when that point comes. And then last but not least, the landfill methane mitigation project, Mary's work as well as Suresh's. The quality assurance consultant will be engaged in September. Mary and Suresh are going to be doing OSHA training. We'll have completed that. It's an important element of the work. And then ongoing, they are both going to be ensuring municipal participants' regulatory compliance with the DEC, and then in 2026, the informational outreach on this work will be heading off full strength with NJIT. Okay, and then last piece here before we get to the resolutions, adoption of resolutions, is the SEDS. So the plan term was slightly updated. Oh, I put the wrong date. It should be 2030 here, June 2030. We had robust participation across the SED strategy committee, which is the same as HVRC board, regional, local governments, lots of participation as well as from the general public. We did 3 presentations to the board, 1 to the general public. And then here is a synopsis of the plan updates that were made as part of all this input. So we incorporated direct edits from board members, and then we also added some elements of public input and that were appropriate to add in the SEDS. We added the largest employers by county as well as GDP data, and we sent out the appendices, the full complement of appendices, which you see listed here. This is all going to be available on our website on the economic development page. And last but not least, the companion document to the SEDS which we called Climate Sustainability Clean Energy, was developed, and this component is funded by the CEC, was completed with funding by the CEC program. So you have the sets that can be used for federal funding applications, and then you have this companion document which can focus on climate and clean energy and can be used for state funding. In terms of meetings, we have one meeting left in November, and it will be in person at our offices as usual, but hybrid will be available. You have a little listing here of some of the items that we intend to cover, and I think that'll probably be more than enough. As usual, we will have our auditor present the 2024 audited financial statements with the balance of materials that Robin and I will have worked on here presented as well. Any questions before I move on to the resolutions? Bridget, I will now pass it off to you.
Do we need to check in to ensure that we have a quorum?
Thank you. Robin has confirmed that we have a quorum. Thank you, Bridget, for asking.
Fantastic. Good news. Okay, great, Carla. Carla will now present Resolution 3-2025.
So this resolution is while a little long, it's a very simple resolution. It basically adds the mention of Article 12B, Section 239H, which is, let me see if I can, which is the language that is critical to the New York State retirement system to see that language in at minimum bylaws. And this is what I had mentioned before. We haven't gotten the 100% full guidance on how else we may need to modify other documents, but this piece is a solid piece to that gets us started with this process for enabling the HVRC staff to enter the New York State retirement system. So the section that is being updated in the bylaws is Section 1, and it adds Article 12B, Section 239H as the other New York State enabling legislation through which HVRC was created.
Great. Okay, great. Got lost here. Okay. Do I have a motion to accept and adopt Resolution 3-2025? Please
I make a
identify yourself.
motion, Nadia from Sullivan, I make a motion to move this resolution.
Perfect. Do I have a second?
Yeah, Peter Criswell from Ulster County. I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Any okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
So this is Dennis Doyle. I'm going to abstain. I need an opportunity to read Article 12B again to make sure that it's consistent with this. I get this as a regional planning council. I just want to make sure that the regional planning council doesn't supplant county planning boards in terms of their efforts relative to land use reviews, et cetera, et cetera. I know it provides for studies and stuff like that at a regional level. I don't know what those studies take in terms of they're actually being worked on and become official for all of the entities within the area. So I do have some concerns here, and I want to take an opportunity to read Article 12B.
May I respond to just some of those concerns, if it may be helpful, Bridget?
Yes, please do.
Okay, so just as background, the current bylaws of HVRC mirror, I would say about 95% of the language that's already in Article 12B. When HVRC was established back in 1977, we looked through, Eleanor and I looked through the past meeting notes. We could not find the rationale for why HVRC was created only under Article 5G. However, this is not something that is unique to HVRC. There are many regional councils that have gone through this process where they just had Article 5G, then they added Article 12B, some removed Article 5G and only 12B, only to go back to mention both Article 5G and Article 12B, which reveals to me that there's been some confusion around this. But in terms of for HVRC staff, the New York State retirement system, gaining entry, having Article 12B is very important to the organization. But that aside, there will be a formal bylaws updating, as has been mentioned quite a bit. And we're just waiting to get the information that the New York State retirement system needs to see so that we can update it and be in keeping with the state enabling legislation without interfering with the planning processes for the counties. That is our goal.
Yeah, I get it, and I don't disagree with what you're trying to do. One of the concerns I have is that the regional planning body, once established under Article 12B, as I read it, basically requires the legislative bodies of the municipalities participating under this article to adopt by resolution an agreement setting forth the terms and conditions of such a collaboration. So we haven't seen that yet. That's going to be required under Article 12B, and then it also includes that the Regional Planning Council under Article 12B becomes a political subdivision of that municipality that's participatory. Those are some concerns that I think that I'd like to have a conversation with the county attorneys about and the legislature so that they're aware of that.
Okay, thank you. Those are all fair and very good points, and we will be happy to participate in those conversations as applicable. Bridget?
So do we just note the abstention?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and it was a majority vote with one yeas with one abstention.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, Carla will now present Resolution 4-2025.
Thank you. So this resolution, which has mirrored past resolutions in the past of past adopted SEDS, formally adopts the SEDS that was presented to the board with all of the presentations and public comments, and makes it an official strategy for the region. It enables, as you recall, there was Eleanor was worked very closely with the counties and other local governments in the region to ensure that the project listing was quite robust, because this document serves as the foundation through which the local governments will be applying for funding to the EDA and frankly other federal funding opportunities where this document may be applicable. So it's just the formal adoption process, and it recognizes the consultant that worked with us on the SEDS, Novasis. And I believe that's really about it.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept and adopt Resolution 4-2025? Please identify yourself by name.
Motion, Barbara Barosa.
Thank you, Barbara. Do I have a second?
Nadia from Sullivan, second.
Nadia, thank you so much. We'll now take the vote to adopt Resolution 4-2025. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? The resolution is approved and adopted. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Carla for some meeting items.
This is Dennis again. I apologize. I want to go back to the first resolution and record my vote as a no. And the reason for that is that under Article 12B, regional planning councils are granted they're granted the ability to conduct certain classes of planning and zoning actions on a city, town, or village pursuant to section 239 L and M of this article, and review certain subdivision plats pursuant to the section of 239 N of this article. So that is a direct, for me, that's a direct conflict, with the role of the county planning board.
Okay, I think it seems to me like we need to do a little bit more research there and maybe have a discussion, Dennis, with you, and understand what you learn, and then Carla, perhaps you can arrange for a meeting.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, we want to make sure we're doing the right thing here, for sure. Okay. Over to you, Carla, for November meeting items.
Thank you. Did we received, I believe, Dennis commented before you could do the formal vote on resolution 4.
No, I said resolution is approved and adopted. Yep.
Oh, you did? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, great. All right. So that is basically the end of our meeting. I want to thank you all, as always, for your support. The November meeting, Bridget, I had covered the November meeting items earlier in that other slide. So back to you for the public comment.
Yeah. Are there any members of the public on the Zoom or anyone in person locations who wishes to make a comment at this time? Okay, hearing none, I will ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. Please identify yourself by name. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Nadia Sullivan.
Thank you, Nadia. Do I have a second?
Second, Charlene Delicato.
Thank you, Charlene. All those in favor say aye.
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 The meeting is adjourned. Carla, did you want to say a few words?
Just thank you for everybody's support as usual. And I look forward to addressing the Article 12B comments and concerns. And I'm sure we can get to a good place where everybody feels comfortable.
Very good. Great. Okay. Thanks everyone for your participation and attention.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of the day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.